Let's get more now from Tue Jakobsen. He's with the aid agency Care International and joins me from Gaziantep in Turkey, just across the Syrian border. Tue, thanks for joining me. What more can you tell us about the situation in Idlib at the moment?
I think it's fair to say that it's a very dramatic situation in Idlib at the moment. The last month has seen significant high levels of violence, air shelling, bombardments, use of barrel bombs, and it has forced what the UN estimates to be more than 270,000 people on the move. We've had hopes that the offensive would sort of slow down as political pressure will go up for a political solution, but that hasn't happened. And so now we are extremely nervous that we will see a lot higher numbers of displaced fleeing north towards the Turkish border.
Is it safe for aid agencies like yours to work in and around Idlib?
The short answer is no. Idlib is probably one of the most dangerous places in the world to conduct humanitarian aid work at the moment. We've seen hospitals and health facilities being directly targeted as well as indirectly affected by the bombardments. We've seen schools being affected. We've seen water stations being affected. We've seen ambulances shot at. It's extremely dangerous, and CARE continues to call for all parties to the conflict to respect international humanitarian law and to do everything they can to prevent the targeting of humanitarian aid workers and civilians in the conflict.
In that report, we heard that NGOs are warning of, quote, new waves of refugees fleeing from Idlib towards places like Europe. Do you share that concern?
I think it's difficult to predict where people will head. I think it's important to remember, most of all right now, that the neighboring countries of Syria are right now hosting more than 5.3 million refugees, and they've taken a tremendous responsibility on them, both politically and economically, to host those refugees. In CARE, we call for the international community to share that responsibility. We need to continue to support those countries, to provide services that are important for the Syrian refugees, but also to take responsibility in terms of asylum seekers and welcoming a responsible share of people needing protection.
As you said, neighbouring countries are bearing a lot of the brunt, then Turkey being one of them. Is Turkey prepared to take in more refugees?
We don't know. I think it's important to remember that Turkey is the biggest refugee hosting country in the world right now. And CARE operates in Turkey. We're trying to support the Syrian communities here as best as we can. But obviously, no country in the world is ready to take in the 3 million people currently being hosted living in Idlib. So the only solution to the current situation is not that Turkey opens its borders. It's that the violence is put to a stop. And that's a political solution needed.
Well, there has been a ceasefire in the region for a couple of months. Why do you think it's falling apart now?
Yeah, it's difficult to be behind the scenes of that. I think it's important to remember that Idlib is the last rebel stronghold. We've all known since last year that the Syrian government had intentions to take back this area militarily. It's no big surprise. The ceasefire has been in place, but it was contingent on a political process that would have produced some results. Those results have not come through, and now we're seeing Russia and Syrian government putting pressure back on the negotiation table. Unfortunately, with significant civilian consequences as a result.
Tue Jakobsen from Care International, thanks very much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.